Right, hello, hello, hello. Are we live? Are we live? Here on the Gran Turismo 7 stream. Am I live? Am I live? We seem to be having some issues, but I think it might be solved now. And I believe we are live. So, let's do this reintroduction again. Hello everyone, my name is Jamie Perry. You can call me Helix Breezy. I am your official commentator for this race here in this very rainy intermediate race here at Azerbaijan. And I believe we're going to be getting underway very shortly. I think everyone's got their seats. Fast and Furious has now chosen Ferrari, so that should be it. I think that should be everyone ready to go. I'm not 100% sure. But what I do know is that I'm now live. So, little embarrassing story. I spent like a good 10.5 minutes talking to myself and not to Twitch. So I'm live now. And a little issue, but now we're back, good to go. So let's talk about Azerbaijan. So short qualifying, 50% race. It's the basics. It's what is, I guess, the race weekend format for House of Racing. So you've got 15 minutes in qualifying to set the fastest lap you possibly can to get yourself as high on the grid as possible, and you've got 50% race, 26 laps. Very simple, it's half of what a full race would be. And so, live on Twitch, ready to go. Sorry if you see a lack of things. We are back. Sorry if there was a lack of screen for half a second. We are back. Okay. So, in 8 seconds we head into Azerbaijan for round 3 of the House of Racing Formula 1 series. And in we go. So, we head to short qualifying. And if I'm not wrong, it's going to be intermediate conditions for the entire race weekend. So it is not going to be fun for the people who are going to sit and wait. It's only going to get worse. If I am correct, it could be a sunny qualifying. So, with loading complete, and now waiting for the drivers to ready, picking their tyre strategy, we head into short qualifying for Azerbaijan, for Baku, for round 3. And that is everyone. A little introduction for myself. My name, obviously, is Jamie Perry, like you've already heard. I am the Gran Turismo 7 main commentator, but Ryan, who is your main commentator for F1, couldn't make it, so I am here for you. And yeah. So, let's get this all up. Right. So we head to the Alfa Romeo of Marco Angelo. He is in the Alfa Romeo. Very simple. He is a reserve driver filling in for a driver who couldn't be here. And now he gets an opportunity to prove himself to maybe make it into F1 with the top dogs. Behind him, not too far behind, maybe even in front, no, he's behind, is the Ferrari of Kensington Swerver. In the Ferrari, currently in P13, and Fast and Furious is out. Fast and Furious, not even maybe 2 minutes into the session, and Fast and Furious is out. Kensington Swerver's teammate. Oh, and that is the debuting McLaren, if I'm not wrong, sorry, not the debuting McLaren, I believe Alpine maybe, of UEL MCL LN4, out of qualifying, and that's another one. Marvin Durgan's also out. 3 people out in such a short amount of time. And Goya's out. What is happening? And Maddie, it is chaos. Ladies and gentlemen, I haven't seen anything, and it is chaos here at Azerbaijan. So, let's get this a bit more under control. Alright. P2, Zinc, Alpine. Currently running the number 2 on the car. Oh, and he hits the wall. He's in. Scrapes against the wall. That is not going to be good for the Alpine. Let's head down to the other Alpine, the teammate for Zinc. And you can see the Aston Martin of what seems to be Maddie Kopp. And Nano is now out as well. Wow. What is happening? They're all on outlaps. How? And there's an Alfa Romeo. There's a yellow flag. There's an Alfa Romeo who's hit the wall. And he's got crazy front wing damage. And it seems he might have a puncture as well. And we have a yellow flag on the front straight. And that's just them boxing. My God. What has happened in the first, who knows, 5 minutes of qualifying? We've not even gotten into fast laps. It's only been out laps. So, someone who is on a fast lap though is XX Shadow, and we may as well watch him as he is currently on sector 1, cruising down that straight, and he's going to make it into what seems to be the second last 90-degree corner, very slowly, and we watch him retire. XX Shadow is out of the session now. What are we witnessing at the top of the food chain? And that's another collision from the Williams of Jenga Boy. And we have is that the Alpine of, no, it's Alfa Romeo, but there's a collision and there's another person out. Guys, there's so much to focus. There's people getting out 24/7. There's so many people. Just chaos here at qualifying here at Azerbaijan. And R. Duffy is out for AlphaTauri. What is happening? So, now that we get a bit more of a grip of what is happening, Timu 559 gets a 2-minute 8.2. That is really slow for intermediate conditions. And Jenga Boy goes P2 in the Williams, his teammate actually, with a 2-minute 9.8. So there is a huge difference in gap. Outlap is Zinc, and he is currently warming those tyres in very wet conditions. And it is absolute chaos here. And you can see Redemption 30, you can see the yellow flags, is now trying to do like a mechanical pirouette of some sort. We'll continue on there. Zinc just cruising through those corners now. It seems like he's starting to get a better hold of himself. Been a nice little collision point there. He doesn't collide there, keeping it actually nice and clean. And that was a pirouette by Redemption 30, and he's off. He's finally off. Roadrunner in the pits. Kensington Swerver comes into the pits, and oh, and that's Marco Angelo. Marco Angelo is also out of qualifying. I don't even know what to say. Absolute chaos here at Azerbaijan. I don't think I've been able to commentate a single fast lap. There's been so many crashes. I've just one person out by the other. So, and Zinc has left the session. Obviously maybe not happy with what has happened so far, and Timu has retired from the session. What is happening? So let's go to the Red Bull of Shocker, who actually seems to have one whole car in the Red Bull. Bybit being one of the main sponsors of many sponsors on that car. DRS obviously deactivated because of intermediate conditions. So his outlap comes to an end as he crosses that timing line, and his lap begins now. So Shocker in the Red Bull goes into the second corner, both 90 degrees, very tight, very easy to crash, and we've seen it multiple times now. Getting a nice good run through onto the straight. Obviously got a decent exit. He's going to brake nice and early, really getting close to that wall and the apex, but he keeps it nice and tight, nice and clean. Brakes again into the next turn, and that will be pretty much the last full 90-degree turn of this track. Obviously very mechanical, very tight for the first section, and it is Shocker who currently has purple in the first. So now continuing on, probably one of the tightest and unfriendliest corners here at Azerbaijan, here at Baku, the castle section, and it is not friendly for beginners. And he's going through it with not too much hassle, doesn't crash. And speaking of, Joshy Boy in the McLaren on an outlap. I've gotten the wrong McLaren, and that is my bad. So, McLaren outlap Roadrunner, getting a slipstream even though he's on an outlap, so I don't know how much that will benefit him. Redemption 30 has had a terrible time, another yellow flag for the Alfa Romeo, and I don't even know what to commentate. There's been so many incidents in one go, and there's still 9 minutes of action. It has been absolute chaos. So we may as well go to Shocker, who crosses the line for a 1:56.2. So from a 2 minute 8 seconds, comes down to a 1 minute 56. So Shocker is currently on provisional pole. Jenga Boy, who is in the Williams in P3 with a 2 minute 9 seconds. So he has a lot of time to drop before he even gets close to pole position, or provisional pole, sorry. And beating Shocker, Zinc, who's also on his outlap, warming the tires, and Jenga Boy does the same, and I'm hearing a big crunch, and that is the Mercedes front wing, and that is a Mercedes out. I didn't see which Mercedes it was, but that is a Mercedes out of the session, and that leads, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, no, less people now. Another person is out. What is happening? Sorry, he's not out. Redemption 30 actually gains a bit of time, but well and truly nowhere near enough. And is that a soft compound tyre on the road? What is happening? Absolute chaos. And I'm surprised there's not been a red flag, but I'm pretty sure that there's not a red flag mechanic. But I'm surprised there's not been a red flag, but Redemption 30 goes P2 and a decent couple of seconds off Shocker. It's surprising to think that a decent time would only be a couple seconds off another car. And right now it stands that your top 6, including the 4 drivers in that top 6 still standing, is Shocker, Redemption 30, Jenga Boy and Zinc, all looking for a chance at maybe pole position, because right now if you're not at pole, we say that, but look who's gone on pole here. Roadrunner has found his way up into pole positions. We may see what his McLaren buddy is doing, and it is a 1:41 coming through onto the main straight, pedal to the metal. Nothing against him now, and as he reaches the timing line, it is a 1:53.2, so it is a McLaren 1-2 with Joshy Boy taking provisional pole with just above 3/10. I'm still trying to get the ropes of stuff. Absolute chaos has happened at Azerbaijan. Over 11 races, sorry, I apologize for that, what seems to be around 8-9 races have been taken out of the race by the streets of Azerbaijan. So, on a lap with Shocker here. He is currently on a fast lap, 1 minute 1 going into the castle section, the very tight and very struggly section, and he comes out unscathed actually, which is surprising seeing how many people have now been taken out of this race by the streets of Azerbaijan, and now we need to go back to a bit of normalcy. So Jenga Boy goes on provisional pole with a 152.9, and now we're starting to get a bit of grips of stuff. Now we're seeing the drivers, and we say that, but another driver goes out, and now we get to see the drivers who are the talent. So Jenga Boy on provisional pole, Joshy Boy P2, Roadrunner P3, he boxes, Zinc P4, Shocker P5, Redemption 30 P6, and Kensington Swerver P7. So, both Ferrari of Kensington Swerver and Roadrunner McLaren are out into the pit lane, and it seems that Shocker had a little bit of a struggle getting into the pit lane, but he's in the pit lane nevertheless. The yellow flag has disappeared. So on to Zinc. He is 2.4 seconds off the pace and most likely coming into the pits. From the telemetry you can tell that he also does not have a lot of battery left in him. Jenga Boy currently on with his purple lap, probably coming into the pits as well. And it definitely seems like they're going to get one more run on fresh intermediates to see who can go quickest. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we can get to the actual commentating. The actual good bit of racing, because it has been clouded by constant crashes and demolitions to the streets of Azerbaijan, but now everything starts to calm down. Everything starts to smoothen out, and you have your drivers who have been able to withstand the walls, the barriers of that. But we say that, but go to Zinc, and there's been a yellow flag, and has there been some type of collision? Is there like a puncture or something? No. And is it the Red Bull ahead? Sorry, the Williams of ahead. It seems to be just him going into the box, into the pit lane, and Zinc to follow behind. So, everyone in the pit lane except a Ferrari, who now exits on his outlap. So, now that we're back to square one, now that we're back to the root of things, the Ferrari of Kensington Swerver and the Alfa Romeo of Redemption 30 come out of the pit lane to start what seems to be their final attempt at provisional pole, potentially at the front row, because it seems that whoever is behind another driver has to be incredibly cautious. Has to be cautious because of the road, the weather. It is not looking good race-wise. I mean, look at qualifying. We only had half a lap, and half the bloody grid was gone. So, moving on to Redemption 30, who is in the Alfa Romeo. Lovely looking livery, and through the corner he keeps it nice and tight, keeps it very close onto those apexes, and by no time at all he is fully accelerated, pedal to the metal, full throttle, and he eases off those brakes, definitely has ABS off, and doesn't need help at all. Will he need help through the section of the castle? And no, he doesn't. Does it with pretty good ease. So we move over to the Red Bull of Shocker XZ15 on his outlap, all preparing to go one more last time, one more fight. What can all these drivers achieve when they are all on the exact same pace? Now let's go back down, because the Ferrari of Kensington Swerver is about to finish his lap, and it's a 158.8. It's an improvement, but it's not going to be enough. So now we go to the Alfa Romeo, who's currently on a 138.2, and now What can he do when he crosses the line? It's a 1 minute 56.6, and that sees him stay in P6. So now we go to P5 of Shocker RXZ 2015. What can he do when he crosses the line? It looks decent, and it's a 2 minute 9 seconds. I take back what I said. That is shocking from Shocker. So now we go to Zinc, and now we see a bit more of the track. On his outlap, on his outlap, on his outlap, and then there's Jenga Boy. So what can he do on his final run? What can Jenga Boy do on his last attempt, his last chance to increase his gap? Crosses the line. It's a 152 point something, and it seems he has increased it, and potentially. I never really got a good look at that lap, but right now it is Jenga Boy on provisional pole, Kensington Swerver currently P7, Alfa Romeo of Redemption 30 P6, Shocker in P5 in the Red Bull. It is Alpine of Zinc P4, the two McLarens P3 and P2 of Joshy Boy and Roadrunner, and your current provisional pole sitter Jenga Boy. You have 17 seconds to cross the line, and it seems like Kensington Swerver is going to be the first one to do so. So what can he do on his very last lap? And is he going to be the only one who's going to get one final lap? Yes, it will be. So while everyone else crosses the flag, may as well see what the Alfa Romeo of Redemption 30 can do, and we'll come back to Kensington Swerver by the time his lap comes to an end. So when Redemption 30 crosses the line, he makes his way up to P4, and that is the end of qualifying for him. So down to Zinc. He is currently 0.003 of a second slower. What can he do to improve his time? What can he do to get himself up onto provisional pole, up into those podium areas of time? Right now, it is Shocker who finishes his qualifying in P6. Couldn't improve. So we go back to Zinc as he makes his way through some of the last real tight areas, and I'm pretty sure that is Jenga Boy, who has not finished his lap, but is he boxing? Yes, he is. So that's the end of qualifying for Jenga Boy, and it's the end of qualifying for Redemption 30 and the end of qualifying for Shocker. So what can Zinc do? What can Zinc do? Because now he is on the main straight, and it is Roadrunner. It is the McLaren on provisional pole in, I guess, the alleyways from behind. McLaren comes up on top. Joshy Boy takes out Jenga Boy's time, and now it's a P1 and P2 start for McLaren. What is Kensington Swerver able to do? Is he even gonna go fast enough? It looks like he's 2/10 down, and he's boxing. So that is qualifying over, and that is your official grid start for tomorrow's race. And that's excluding the other 11 drivers, if I'm not wrong, out of the session. So chaos at the start of short qualifying, and everything in between, to a more balanced and more easy flowing qualifying at the end. And we see, after everything's been finished and after everything's been completed, that is the McLaren 1-2 of Roadrunner and Joshy Boy, and to finish off the top three, Jenga Boy and the Williams Racing lead us into the race. We have Redemption 30, Zinc, Shocker, Kensington Swerver, Timu 559, Nano, Maddie Kopp, Marvin Durgan, XX Shadow, JJ, Goya, L2, MCL XLN4, and there's plenty more to go through. So all these people DNF. So then you have Fast and Furious, Marco Angelo, Galaxy for Games, R. Duffy, and that is your grid lineup. 8 of them actually got a lap in, and everyone else crashed before they could even make an impact. So can they make an impact in the race? It's up to them. And I do apologize if there's been a lack of commentary expertise in the F1 side of things. I've been, I guess, locked away to the Gran Turismo side of things. So hopefully you can understand why it's all over the place at the beginning. So, with a 30-second timer now beginning, it is race time, with 18 drivers lining up on the grid for the official third round of the Formula One series. You have a McLaren 1-2, a front row lockout. You have the Williams of JJoLancer in P3, but it isn't over yet because there's 50%, half of what a 100% race would be. So there's plenty of strategy moves that a team can make, especially in wet conditions like this. So we go to formation lap. And now we need to make sure no one crashes and spins while they're only going half of what they will be going. And it is going to be very interesting what the McLarens can do on their impact, what McLarens can take away from this. The predicted pit stop is a 1 stop, a potential 2 stop, and if I'm not wrong, because they're on intermediate tyres, they don't need to box at all if they don't want to. But will intermediate tyres make the distance on, if I'm not wrong, 26 laps? Yeah, it says up on the top. So JJoLancer in P3, he has a bit of a job to do. He has to get past 2 McLarens that went faster than him by a decent margin, by a good couple of seconds, which is crazy to think as a norm, all because of weather. So, we start the race in inters, but can we end the race in dries? Are we going to see some difference in strategy, or is it going to be wet weather all the way to start to finish? Let's go to the Ferrari of Kensington Swerver, who starts P7. He was the slowest of them all who was still around, which is crazy to think because you have 11 other drivers, 18 drivers in total, 11 drivers downward from Kensington Swerver who all DNF'd without setting a lap except Timu, but never could improve on their lap, so they start P8. So, and a bit of a clump up there on the formation lap. Everyone trying to warm up their tires because they know that that warmth in the tires are not going to stay there. They know because of intermediate conditions they're going to leave. So Shocker and the Red Bull, the 2 McLarens up at the front, and the Williams that needs to do a whole lot to win against what seems to be 2 raging McLarens. And with no Jordan, with no JJoLancer, we are guaranteed a brand new winner for the very first ever Formula One HOR racing series. So they all line up for the final time here at Azerbaijan, here for round 3 at Baku. A couple of people going just a little bit too far off the line, and now they make their final line adjustments. We thought it was chaos in qualifying. What will it be here at Azerbaijan? Final little movements. It's gonna be 5 red lights. It's go, 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 go in the wet and slippery conditions of Azerbaijan, and it's a great getaway from the McLarens, trading positions, and will Jenga Boy be able to just sweep in what seems to be a P2, and we've already got a yellow flag. Is that an AlphaTauri, a Haas, maybe going down a couple of positions, and there's a spin! There's a spin from the Alpine and from the AlphaTauri at the start of the race after 2 corners. What hectic chaos are we awaiting for if we've only seen a spin? And I've just realized there's an Aston Martin down in the runoff area just before turn 2. So that's 3 drivers who have just binned it. Maybe by their own reckoning, or maybe by someone else, and there's a yellow flag from the Ferrari, and there's front wing damage all over the place, and there seems to be Mercedes front wing damage as well, and I'd expect it to be from Galaxy for Games, and it is from Galaxy for Games. And if I'm not wrong, that's a virtual safety car. And Matty Kopp gets a drive-through penalty, and that's the Haas. We get a really good camera here, the Haas. The Haas of MCL LN4 is out. And will that become a full safety car? Are we going to stay under VSC conditions? No, we won't. It just won't happen. There's not enough debris. And so now we get away and someone's out. And there's multiple people out. We have the Ferrari out. We have the Mercedes out. We have bloody MCL LN4 out. That's 3 people out in 1 lap. And Joshy Boy, while we've been focusing on all the stuff at the back, Joshy Boy gets fastest lap, and he seems to be keeping a very, very good lead as he cruises away with his teammate Roadrunner right behind him. Jenga Boy, he has a bit of catching up to do, and it seems he's already run out of ERS, unless that is the rain light up and running. So Zinc, Shocker, R. Duffy, the Ferraris all getting past now, all slowly but surely. So Matty Kopp in the Aston Martin boxes. His car kind of looks like a missile without the front wing. So now, in these wet weather conditions, is he now going to try and he has to rethink this strategy? What will he be able to do? Goya gets a move on Redemption 30, and that is the AlphaTauri making some decent moves there, and that is a very tight inside line, really hugging the apex for Redemption 30. He makes the move stick, and Goya is back down to P14. A good little fight at the back of the pack. And Matty Kopp, when he comes out, nearly 47 seconds behind, is really lacking pace. So we go back to the front of the grid of Joshy Boy and Roadrunner, who is seeming to just slowly but surely continue to grasp away with this win, only with 2 laps underway, and it already seems like McLaren domination is on its way. Jenga Boy and everyone behind him still have so much work to do to catch up to them, and he will have to save ERS, and it seems like he has, because he's got a really good run through here, and the gap hasn't increased, but it also hasn't shortened, and now it has. Roadrunner this time round gets fastest lap. So what does this mean? Does this mean we're going to see a McLaren swap between the two? Are they going to fight it out? And there's a good couple of fights happening in the midfield. The Ferrari seeming to have a little bit of front wing damage, or maybe one of the end plates, fighting with the Williams and Haas, and a good couple of people boxing as well. We've got a yellow flag, and that, if I'm not wrong, is Shocker, who has had a spin, and the Alpine of XX Shadow will get past with not much issue at all. But chaos ensuing, so many people boxing, and that is the Haas now on the runoff area here at Azerbaijan. So now we go to the pit lane, and now on the pit exit we have the Aston Martin of Nano, Marco Angelo in the Alfa Romeo, and Goya now finally making her way out of the pit lane. What is happening here at Azerbaijan? I'll tell you what, it is chaos. So, Shocker spins, Alpine makes up moves, multiple people box, and now it all starts to settle down again until Maddie Kopp boxes for a second time in 2 laps. What is happening? So let's go back to the front of the grid where we see Joshy Boy. He's now made a 1.3 second gap with the cars behind, including his teammate Roadrunner, meaning that if this track does dry out and we do get DRS, he would not get it. What is happening? So Jenga Boy, who needs to make a massive catch up on the McLarens, Joshy Boy now goes with the fastest lap with a 156.6. Roadrunner 7/10 behind in jail. We have a yellow flag in, and that is Marvin Durgan out. We're gonna see it through the Alfa Romeo's camera. That is Marvin Durgan out, and that time, will it be a full-on safety car? There's the Haas facing in the opposite direction, center of it, and yes, it is a full-on safety car. Will that mean strategy changes for the people who can still make the strategy? Will the Alfa Romeo box? No. What about the Aston Martin? What about the other Alfa Romeo of Marco Angelo? No. Goya probably won't, and neither will Maddie Kopp, because they've all boxed quite new tyres in the last 1 or 2 laps. So, let's go back to square one. Let's go back to P1 of Joshy Boy with Roadrunner behind. And chaos has ensued here at Azerbaijan, and through the very tight castle section they go, and everything starts to slow down. It's almost like a reset button for everyone. A chance for almost a rolling start, a green flag running, and a way for people to make overtakes. And now Marco Angelo, I'm not sure if that's his second penalty, but that's another drive-through penalty for someone for speeding in the pit, for speeding under virtual safety car. And I'm guessing, yes, Maddie Kopp now has a 5-second time penalty as well. So we'll use the TV pod camera here. And Joshy Boy currently leading the field. We see Jenga Boy box into the pits. And now Zinc will get past, and so will R. Duffy. What can Alpine do with the time they have? They also are going to be replacing a front wing, so obviously some front wing damage. Not the Alpine. I keep mixing it up because of the pink on that helmet of Jenga Boy. And Shocker, the last person to overtake Jenga Boy, now cruising through the streets of Azerbaijan under safety car conditions. And is the Alpine of Zinc in P3, and is Goya! Goya is out! And Goya is out! And I don't think we're gonna get a good look at how Goya was out, but Goya is out. And Maddie Kopp was the last one to see any incident of it, but we just won't see it. So Jenga Boy, who has boxed, is now in P9. He was in P3, and funnily enough, 2 people who still need to box, if I'm not wrong, are McLaren. They have been in P1 and P2, but eventually, by the length of the race, they will have to do something. They will have to make a move, and they will have to box and change their strategy at some point. And that's one of the McLarens getting very wide, and that is the Aston Martin of Matty Kopp out of the session. So now once again Nano has to carry the Aston Martin green, the Aston Martin team, to the checkered flag. That's unless he crashes himself. So Joshy Boy leads the pack under safety car conditions, and now we get to see everyone slowly start to close up. We see Marco Angelo, Nano and Redemption 30, the only people who haven't caught up to safety car. Eventually they will though. And so now it's just a matter of time. When will the safety car come back into the pits? When will it happen? And a big tap of the wall there for Marco. He's still got a drive-through penalty, and it has not been a fun race, a very clumsy race for the Alfa Romeo. And Redemption 30 has left the session, some type of internet error or something on the lines of that. Nano, P11, Marco does box. So what can he do under safety car conditions? What can Alfa Romeo do to make this pit stop as quick as possible, to make sure that he can still catch up to the pack by the end of it? Let's go of that clutch at the perfect time, and now he will be able to go pedal to the metal, acceleration now on, to catch up to the rest. But Marco Angelo has crossed the pit lane exit again. So just like how he got rid of that 5-second penalty, he's picked it right back up again. And that is devastating for Marco. So Joshy Boy, Roadrunner, Zinc, R Duffy and Timu 559 are your top 5 so far. McLaren have yet to even see P3, have yet to even sniff the outside of a podium. And that's for both drivers. Are we seeing a Monza 2021 but here at Azerbaijan under intermediate conditions? So after every DNF we are left with 12 people in this race. And what will Joshy Boy be able to do? Will Roadrunner be the second driver for Joshy Boy, or will he snap and finally make the move for Joshy? One moment if you do not see anything, I do apologize. And we are back. Sorry if there was any black square in the corner or anything, it will disappear. And now safety car, getting a big distance to those drivers, and surely the drivers need to catch up, because there hasn't been any type of FIA announcement saying that the safety car is coming in this lap. So why has there been such a gap created? Now I do apologize, this is my first time commentating for an F1 race, so I'm still learning the ropes of stuff, and I've only really known how to do Gran Turismo 7 commentating. So if I am still getting, I guess, the ropes of stuff, please forgive me. I'm still learning and trying to continue to get better, so I do apologize. So right now the position changes are seen like this. You've got R Duffy, who has made over 14 overtakes in 7 laps in the AlphaTauri, and you can also see the sadness of Jenga Boy, Shocker, 6 positions down, sharing that. 4 positions up for Marco, 3 positions up for Nano. And it has been ups and downs for all drivers. Something we do see is that Joshy Boy did start P2 and now he's in P1, and Roadrunner did start in P1 and now he's P2, so almost a McLaren switch between the 2 drivers. How many stops have been done? Well, that is your answer. 1 stop for all those drivers, meaning that there's still a lot of people under safety car to pit. So will the people who have boxed early get a lovely undercut, Or will this screw over their entire race strategy, because statistically you don't have to box under intermediate conditions or worse? So we look at the tyres, and that kind of gives you an idea at the age, and you can tell McLaren will continue to struggle and continue to wear away, and eventually we get that announcement. Safety car is in this lap. Safety car comes in at the end of this lap. So behind Roadrunner, who's currently in P2 warming his tyres, is Zink, R. Duffy, Timu and many more. But ahead of him is his teammate. He could well and truly make the move just by the snap of his fingers. Is he going to play the second driver role, or is he going to help his teammate out in benefit of McLaren? Looking behind, this is getting very interesting. P3 Zink getting a really good view of what could be a very tight McLaren battle. And now they are getting away, and it is going to be green flag running. Safety car is no more, and now they can finally get back up to race pace. Duffy now going to try and get a good slipstream from the Alpine of Zink, but just not close enough, even with the battery save that the safety car has gifted every single driver. So what can these drivers do in these conditions? Zink in P3 cannot catch the McLarens, and now you can actually see the AlphaTauri and the Williams of Timu and R. Duffy fighting away. And if you go to the front, nothing has switched with the McLarens. Still Joshy Boy in P1 and still Roadrunner in P2. Nothing has changed, and it looks very, very good for Joshy Boy at this point in time, but he still has to box at some point. He still has to make that move when to pit. And at the very back of all of it is Nano 4909, who has had to now carry Aston Martin on his shoulders. He is the only Aston Martin driver still around for the team, waving the metallic Aston Martin green around the track. And now the Alfa Romeo is getting a really poor exit. Will Nano be able to benefit off of this? We go to the cockpit cam, but no, it's just not close enough. Marco much closer to his teammate, but is Redemption slowly catching Shocker in the Red Bull in front. So, in position changes, Marco has now made up another position. Nano stays exactly where he is, and it almost feels like there's a repetitiveness as Joshy Boy somehow finds more time. And if I'm not wrong, has he even boxed? No, but you know who has boxed? Kensington Swerver in the Ferrari, who now leaves the pit lane on dries? On hard compound tyres. And you know what? From what I'm seeing, I'm not seeing any more raindrops. So maybe I was right. Maybe we are going from intermediates to dries, but a very nice pirouette kinda maybe shows where dries are currently for Azerbaijan. So let's go back up to the top, and we'll show you the tyre age so far. And R. Duffy getting in a big scramble with Roadrunner and Timu. Is Roadrunner in a bit of danger? Nearly 4 seconds, now above 4 seconds behind Joshy Boy. Will R. Duffy finally be able to make a move that can see him, get him into P2, split the McLarens up into 2? Will he send it down the inside? No, he won't. And I think everyone would have gasped at the idea that he would have overtaken there, and he won't overtake there either. Is he saving his favourable moment here on the main straight? And it definitely seems like the track is getting incredibly dry. Timu behind is gonna make the overtake on the AlphaTauri, and he does it. What a move! And that is the Williams of Timu getting past the AlphaTauri. But now, look at the predicament. Timu's in. Everyone is in the pits except the two Williams. Timu and Jenga Boy have switched from a McLaren 1-2 to a Williams 1-2. And when all pit stops are said and done, it definitely seems like Joshy Boy, who has a bit of a wide exit, comes out of P3, and it is Shadow XX who splits the two McLarens, and the McLaren strategy has gone horrible. But has it? Because look at the tyres that everyone is on, and then look at the tyres that Jenga and Timu are on. And we have a yellow flag, but it's quickly disappeared, so obviously nothing too severe or serious. It is a Williams 1-2. So will this mean that Williams will have to box, and now that McLaren are in P3 and 4 and they're on their dry compounds, could be till the end of the race, will this be Joshy Boy's first ever win virtually? And Zinc just cannot get closer to that Red Bull. Just cannot close that gap. So now we move up a couple of positions to the Ferrari, who is fighting away with the Aston Martin, but just once again, from what we can see on the cockpit, even with ERS, just cannot get any closer. And it seems that we're finally getting to that stage of the race where everyone starts to split up. We say that, but look at our Duffy. Is he going to be looking for a move? The AlphaTauri may be swooping for something. Is DRS going to be activated in the next couple of laps? We're going to have to see. The Alfa Romeo scraping along there. And does the Alfa Romeo have a puncture? It doesn't look like it, but he'll have to box anyway. Otherwise, he's going to continue to lose time. So that is one of the intermediate runners staying out. And that is Jenga Boy, the other man, who boxes onto hards from inters on dries. So after everything's been said and done, the Williams driver of Timu 559 currently leads the pack, but he needs to box onto dries, otherwise it may be game over. And I say that, and there's a safety car. There's a safety car. And some funny events here. The Alfa Romeo almost like towing the safety car along, but why is there a safety car out of nowhere? There must be some type of front wing debris, side pods, underbody, something, because no drivers have left the race. What has happened? And it definitely seems like it's looking towards the AlphaTauri, who has no front wing. Another looking missile driving around Azerbaijan. And so Jenga Boy may have another opportunity at maybe getting up into the podium positions, maybe even winning, from what was rumoured in predictions over at the Discord for House of Racing. And it is XX Shadow in P4 for Alpine, and everyone on dries who is on hards have a good chance of not needing to box again, but the people on mediums may well and truly have to box again, and may be a two-stop strategy. Will Timu finally box? He does. He finally gives up his position, but to how many drivers? By the time he comes out of the pit lane exit, it's too late, and Roadrunner has taken position. And so right now, once safety car has come out and everyone now follows the safety car, it is McLaren 1-2 once again with Joshy Boy leading, and I didn't miss it. It is Shocker with what seems to be a massive penalty, and we will see if we can see it there. So it is a 5-second time penalty for crossing the white line, if I wasn't wrong. And it's not going to get any easier. So Ferrari it is the Alpine and Aston Martin battling away under safety car conditions. It seems they've split up by a decent mile now. So now, once again, we go to square one, go to P1, and it's almost like we've restarted the race. Except this time, there's almost been a Williams reset. It was Joshy Boy in P1, Roadrunner in P2, but it was Jenga Boy in P3, and now the Williams driver has been switched with another Williams driver of Timu. But don't count him out, because Jenga Boy is only down in P5, and it only takes 2 overtakes to get him back up in that position. But it seems McLaren have nailed their strategy to a piece. And what will Williams be able to do with what they've got? We may as well find a little bit of something detail-wise, and we may as well look at what could be the potential, I guess, strategies for drivers. Because now that there's a second safety car, are people gonna box? Probably not, because if you have a look at the telemetry, you kind of get an idea. So one stop all the way down until you reach P8 of Nano, and then Shocker, and then R Duffy, and then 3 stops of Redemption 30 and Marco Angelo. So the Alfa Romeo is being the best of the rest, mainly because everyone else behind him has DNF'd. And right now, after all the chaos that has ensued here at Azerbaijan, we go down to a safety car, lap 13 of 26. And it's almost like Roadrunner is trying to keep his distance from his teammate of Joshy Boy, making sure that he's playing that second driver role. It definitely seems like Joshy Boy will win this, mainly because Roadrunner might be playing second fiddle for McLaren. And if you haven't seen, Zinc has now got a 5-second penalty for ignoring yellow flag instructions. It's a very interesting penalty for someone to receive. So now, with a 5-second time penalty for Zinc and a 5-second time penalty for Shocker, how will that affect end results if they don't box again? So, once again we go to Joshy Boy in P1. And it definitely seems like it's been McLaren domination so far. And there could be one more pit stop for the many drivers on mediums. And now it's safety car coming in. And side by side goes the Williams next to the McLaren of Roadrunner. So the man on provisional pole, Roadrunner, now down to P2. Joshy Boy up into P1, and lots of switches in between, and there seems to be a little fight between the two Red Bull and Aston Martin. Now they've timed and settled down. Now we're getting something similar here between Alfa Romeo and AlphaTauri. So we may as well go to the front, where it is gonna be green flag running. It is go, 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 and the safety car is finally back away again, and now we are under dry conditions. So now we go back to a bit more normality for Azerbaijan, and Joshy Boy gets a good enough getaway to stay ahead of Roadrunner. But is Roadrunner finally gonna snap, finally gonna make the move? He's only gonna be 2 tenths away, but no, he just hasn't got the confidence, hasn't got the agility, the awareness to go for it. And so now we go down to Timu, who is in the Williams starting to once again create a gap between the McLaren, but not by much. Still a 4/10 gap, still lots of opportunities for Williams to win here, but it's constantly slipping. Every time a safety car comes in, every time another pit strategy has been complete, McLaren seem to always be P1 and P2. After everything, it's always seeming to be P1 and P2 for both drivers. And now we're going to get a really good cockpit cam here of the AlphaTauri of R. Duffy on Shocker XZ15. What can he do in these very tight and tricky conditions, which have now gone back to normal, dry, overcast conditions? And it seems he's just constantly losing time. He's going to use a bit of battery on the exit. Is he going to use battery all the way through? Is he going to try and find a move down the inside? Around the outside, we've got a yellow flag of the Alfa Romeo. And it seems he's hit the wall or made some type of collision. And this has not gone very well at all. So, Duffy's gonna go wheel to wheel with the Red Bull, and they're gonna bang wheels. But by the time the move is done, Duffy's gonna go wide, and the Red Bull of Shocker, gets ahead, and there's another yellow flag, and it's the Alfa Romeo. He might be in the pits this time. No, he isn't. He once again stops, and Marco Angelo, the one in the Alfa Romeo, really struggling to find any pace at all, as he causes 2 yellow flags on one main straight. And there seems to be a bit more moving around from Duffy and Shocker, and it seems that the sister team for Red Bull, AlphaTauri, gets past. And now when we go lower to Red Bull, it seems they're being challenged by Redemption 30, and they're nearly going to go wheel to wheel as well. But everyone knows the rule with castle section: never go wheel to wheel, because it never ends well for one driver. And as they finally make it out of that very tight castle section, Shocker P8, but now Duffy P7, seeking out his next blood, who is Kensington Swerver, and he gains a lot of time, and he gains a lot of time. I repeat it again, because he could make a move. No, he's gonna save it, maybe with ERS. And I'm sorry, we should be focusing on the top field, but this midfield fight has been continuing for the past nearly 2 laps. And with ERS activated, barely anything left for the AlphaTauri, and we've got another yellow flag, and it's Marco. It's Marco again. And will this be race over? Will the team tell them to finally tell him the box to end this race, save the engine? Or will he continue to the very end? And it definitely seems that the people on a 1-stop are staying on hards. And there's a couple people, yes, you see that Duffy, who is on mediums, is on a 2-stop. And Zinc and Nano, who are on 1-stops and 2-stops, who are also on mediums. So and we've got the Ferrari spin! And we've got a really good look at this. Kensington Swerver has made contact, or someone has made contact with Kensington Swerver. And that is not looking good for the Scuderia, for Ferrari. And that has gone horribly wrong, and Marco boxes and comes out, and now what's he going to have? Nearly a 40-second gap to the people in front. And once again, when we come to the top 3, the only thing that's changed is P3. XX Shadow has switched positions with Timu, and it definitely seems like it's staying that way, because they're both on hards, and those hards could definitely last until the end of the race. And for the McLarens, it seems all they have to do is make it to the grand finale, make it to the checkered flag, and make it to P1 and P2. So, a bit of Williams action I see, and we may as well go with the cockpit cam of Timu, who seems to be catching the other Williams of Jenga. We've got a yellow flag in Sector 2, and you're never going to know who it is. It's Marco Angelo, who's had another issue, and it is not gone very well for Marco, and it is just constantly falling apart. And he's nearly going to be a minute behind, and there it is. He is over a minute behind compared to the rest of the field. So while I was rambling on, the Williams have gotten closer, and now there's a Sector 2 and Sector 3. We go back to Alfa Romeo, and Marco, so Redemption 30 this time, almost pulling a Marco. And it is Alfa Romeo who's having a terrible race. Constantly just at the back of the field, it seems like McLaren at the front, Alfa Romeo at the back, and all the other teams and separate drivers fighting it out for the highest position that they can possibly get. So, Joshy Boy in 2-1, 1-2, sorry, Roadrunner currently in P2, and Joshy Boy currently in P1. That's really all I have to say for McLaren. They are dominating this race, and when we go to XX Shadow, he's going to get DRS, but what is that going to do? I mean, like, what is he going to do if McLaren's also getting DRS when he's also getting Slipstream? And Jenga Boy and Timu have started to separate each other between the two Williams. There is nothing that most of these drivers can do at this point in time unless there's another safety car, unless there's another strategy. And now we see Zinc serving a time penalty, it seems, and now the pit stop begins. And it definitely seems he's going from mediums onto new mediums, and it definitely seems like that will be his last pit stop. And that's the same for Redemption 30, and it's the same for Marco. So when Redemption 30 crosses that checkered line, is he going to be ahead? No, not by a long shot he's not going to be ahead. And once again, Alfa Romeo have really screwed the pit stop over, and now it's time for Marco to say goodbye to finishing just on time with everyone else. Now he finishes a lap early, because now the AlphaTauri has blue flagged him. And once again, when we head back to McLaren of Joshy Boy and Roadrunner, there really isn't much to report. I mean, what we can report is that this has gotten oh wow, this has really gotten close, and now we could be seeing a move from the 2, and that is a huge collision with the wall there. I'm surprised no damage or puncture has been made with DRS active. Will the Alpine separate the two McLarens for the first time in this race? It is an Alpine separating the two drivers for half a second, but can Shadow make it stick? Make the move stick and separate the two McLarens on two separate sides of the podium? It just doesn't seem like they can get it done, except maybe he can with DRS with the assist as well as ERS. He's going to try and go the long way round, around the outside, and he will make it stick down the inside, and there's a mini lockup from the Alpine, and that sees Roadrunner stay ahead. And it definitely seems that if Roadrunner keeps up this defending, Joshy Boy will be your winner for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. And once again, the Williams at an equal distance to each other. But what I do want to bring up is that Jenga Boy has gotten very close to this, almost overtaking points, but then on the time he gets to the exit of the corner, he's lost a bit of time, and now it seems an overtake isn't possible. But it definitely seems on the entries and corners, the Williams just has so much more pace compared to a lot of other drivers. And something I forgot to mention is that Nano for Aston Martin, first of all, is in the points. Second of all, he's on the soft compounds. And I'd have to say that is quite a brave strategy, because from 19th all the way to 26th lap. That is a lot of laps for him to have to look after those tires, push, but then look after them. And now we're getting a decent amount of fighting. And will the Alpine finally make the move stick? There's so much fighting, I can't keep up with it. Will Shadow finally make it stick? No, because this time Roadrunner is the one with DRS. And what's funny that I'm seeing is that Jenga Boy also has DRS. And Timu does too. And it is a DRS train from P2 downwards. So, when we get back to the action at hand, we see two Williams fighting with each other, an Alpine trying to split up two entire teams, and then McLaren, who seemingly seem to be impossible to beat this race. And with 6 laps remaining, there is not much that a driver can do to fight against Joshy Boy. There is nearly a 3-second gap from P1. And we may as well have a look at Marco for the sake of it. We may as well have a look at for the sake of it, but there's been a massive, massive mistake. And is that a VSC? It is, it's a virtual safety car. And that will slow the entire pack down, and it definitely seems that the Alpine of Zinc has made a massive mistake. Here at round 3 of the Formula 1 House of Racing Championship, and with only 6 laps remaining, there's been a VSC. So now we may as well go to the front, where we see Joshy Boy with a 5.4 second gap. Is he trying to create as big of a gap as he possibly can, so he can now run away with the win? Behind him is Roadrunner. If you have a look at his cockpit, that's how far away his teammate is. So when we look at position change after multiple laps of having it on what tyres they're currently on, and eventually what pit stops they have it on, you can currently see what has happened. So Joshy Boy and Roadrunner obviously being so incredibly clean, that's all we've seen from them. Just 1 up and 1 down. But then you have a look at XX Shadow, who's made over 8 overtakes. And can it be 9? But it's Nano! Just before green flag went back out, Nano gets a 5-second penalty for speeding under green, so under VSC just before green flag went out. And now that is really going to affect Nano's race, especially on those soft compounds that he was desperately going to use to make up some positions. And there's now another incident, and it seems to be the Alfa Romeo, but which one? Which one is the question? And so, to summarise McLaren's story so far, it's looking like Joshy Boy has been helped a lot by his assistant teammate, Roadrunner. And the only person who can potentially put a dent in the McLaren victory is XX Shadow, splitting the McLarens with a P1 and P3 finish. And it is just absolute chaos that has ensued over the race weekend. When we had only 7 working drivers in qualifying, to this, with Marcoangelo being 1 minute and 5 seconds down on the rest of the pack, being blue flagged on multiple occasions. So now who knows how many laps he'll be finishing down on. Redemption 30 is down 7 positions. I don't think he has actually been blue flagged, so he's been a little bit more on top of his game compared to his teammate, but still not very good. P11 and P12 finish. He's not going to bring home any points for Alfa Romeo. And so now we go to Zinc, who had a little incident earlier on that brought out the VSC that you saw. But it just seems like there's nothing for Zinc to fight. And Timu could be having a little scrap with the Ferrari, but the gap just seems too far. And it seems Nano has just finished up his pit, so he's going to go from softs to mediums with 4 laps remaining. Is that the right call from the Aston Martin? And so McLaren of Joshy Boy currently leads the field, and he has done, except for when he needed to box. And then, when his strategy worked out, as well as Roadrunners, he's back in P1 with P2 as Roadrunner. And Jenga Boy has pretty much switched positions with Timu, who was in P3, he's in P4, but can Jenga Boy find his way back into P3, or is this going to be it for Williams? Is it only going to be disadvantages since the grid positions were set? I mean, one thing that AlphaTauri will have to reward is the 13 overtakes that R. Duffy has been able to secure since his grid position start, and no one can take that away from him. But what we can say is that Timu, who is on the Williams in the soft tyres, has set fastest lap. He's taken that fastest lap away from Joshy Boy, if I was not wrong. So it seems, in a desperate effort for some type of point, Timu has gone onto the soft compounds and set the fastest lap of the race. And now, this is where racing gets a little stale. This is where we'd expect it to slow down, because now the final race positions start to mold together. We say that, but then look at the second sector, and it is an Alfa Romeo. Which one is it? Oh wait, it's Marco! And he's had a light collision, what seems to be in the castle, when he's nearly spun that rear again, and he is really struggling. And Nano again for Aston Martin boxes. It's almost like Nano and Timu are like swapping between fastest laps. And at the front, something I didn't realise is that Shadow has split the McLarens, but now Roadrunner is going to go down the inside. Is he going to make the move stick? He's going to send him wide and nearly into the barrier, and through goes Jenga Boy on lap 24 of 26. Through goes Jenga Boy into P2. He was P4, but with a single wide move from the McLaren of Roadrunner, through goes the Williams of Jenga Boy. And now it is separated by who we thought it would be, and that is a really late lunge from Roadrunner. And once again, Jenga Boy's down to P3. And look at Shadow. He might be getting a good opportunity to get past Jenga. Was all the effort that Jenga just made up gonna go down again? And it seems that quote has been repeated at Australia. It's going to be repeated again. It just seems Jenga Boy is known for making these incredible moments happen near the end of the race. But what can Jenga Boy do now with a 5/10 gap and only 19% battery? What does Roadrunner have? Nearly double that. I mean, Roadrunner has the energy to secure a decent defense on that main straight. But what will he be able to do against the DRS as well? And by the time we reach the main straight, 30% ERS, 21% ERS. But the difference is, this Williams is going to get DRS. Or not. Yes, he will. And so on the main straight, will Jenga Boy find some type of position? Is he going to go around the outside? He must. Will he make it stick? He kinda has to, and he can't. And now the Alpine of XX Shadow gets past Jenga Boy, and so now it's where he began all over again. Jenga Boy back in P4, XX Shadow in P3, and once again Joshy Boy just securing a much needed gap for a potential win for McLaren. But it's not over yet. There is still a chance for him to have a huge accident to take him out of this race. And R. Duffy has got a 5-second time penalty that he will not be able to face, because Why would you box with this amount of time left? And with a 14-second gap to the Red Bull behind, he will currently stay in P5. And I've just realised it's Shocker with the penalty. And I've just realised Shocker will go down to P7 if he can't get the gap necessary. And that isn't true because it's a 10-second gap. I'm thinking about Gran Turismo 7 telemetry. It still runs in my veins like no tomorrow. But I do supply you with the commentary that you want and hopefully that you needed. Because now we head onto the last lap of the Grand Prix. And we may as well finish it off. With a cockpit cam view. And we may as well do one final lap following Joshy Boy. Into the first corner is a very tight 90 degrees. He's going to be pedal to the metal and then into the braking zone. Just keeping it nice and tight. I should bring it back. No other moves have been made currently. Jenga Boy, close to the Alpine, may be still able to secure a podium position. We'll definitely keep an eye out on that. And he's got DRS, but he's not going to be close enough. Joshy Boy, just looking through the streets of Azerbaijan, knowing what he's about to secure. And knowing that there's no Jordan, knowing that there's no Mercedes of JJoLancer to bother him. He has got a smile across the helmet, I guarantee it. And when we see Jenga Boy again, who is the closest to an overtake so far, he just can't seem to get the distance needed. And now through the castle section, it's quite clean for Jenga Boy. But for Joshy Boy, it's even cleaner. Because he smells that fresh air. He smells the clean air of no cars ahead of him. And when we see Jenga Boy, who once again is the closest to an overtake, he's also closest to not making that overtake because we're getting closer to the checkered flag. Oh, but there's a spin! But there's a spin! And now the respectfulness out of Jenga Boy pops up. It's not enough. And we will see the McLaren of Joshy Boy see the checkered flag first. And in Azerbaijan, it is the McLaren of Joshy Boy who wins in Baku. And it is a McLaren 1-2 because Roadrunner picks up P2. And in P3, it is Jenga Boy. But was it well deserved? Or was it worth a time penalty? Did it deserve to go to the Alpine of XX Shadow? Did it even deserve to go to Jenga Boy at the end of the day? What we do know is that your race winner is Joshy Boy. And after hard fought victory, I mean not even, how about a hard fought domination from McLaren? It finishes in a 1-2. It started in a 1-2. But it is Joshy Boy who made the overtake at the start of the race and didn't look back. And I know if he didn't have a smirk before, he has a smirk now. And that is it, ladies and gentlemen. The third round of the race is over. I say that, but there's one more driver to still cross the line, and that is Nano. That is Nano and the Aston Martin. And now he will finally see the checkered flag. Will he feel like he was victorious this time round? No one will know. But it is race over. And Joshy Boy is your winner here at Azerbaijan. And driver of the day respectfully goes to R. Duffy. Over 14 overtakes in that race. Well deserved, definitely. And make it onto the podium position. And there he is. The McLaren driver. The man that finishes in P1. He's hit in the gritty and he deserves to. Because it is Joshy Boy. The first person to take down the winning streak of Jordan. And now we pop the bubbly. We pop the champagne, and it goes over to the crowd, it goes over to the mechanics, and towards your race winner, and towards your podium finishes. And that is it, ladies and gentlemen. I just want to say before everyone leaves the chat, this was my first ever, like, actual Formula 1 commentary. So, like, I'm still getting used to everything, and I'm still getting used to showing telemetry and switching cameras. It's much easier to do on Gran Turismo, that's why I'm so good on GT7. But I appreciate the opportunity that I was given. You will see Ryan at the next Grand Prix, so for now, it has been your boy, Jamie Perry. You can call me Helix Breezy though, or just Helix. And that is it. Thank you. Really, thank you. But goodbye.